Do you find yourself looking for the perfect bottle of wine to go with your next pasta dish, but you're not sure where to begin? I have got you covered because that's exactly what we are going to talk about in today's video. My name is Tiffany, and I help busy millennials who feel overwhelmed in the kitchen learn new skills to create quick, healthy meals with wine pairings. Check out my link in the description below. Follow me on social media for daily tips, tricks, recipes, and inspiration. And while you're there, be sure to hit that subscribe button because I'm dropping videos like this every week, and I would hate for you to miss out on the next one. If you find yourself in need of some quick, easy recipes that go from raw to ready in less than 30 minutes, be sure to download your copy of my free weeknight recipe guide to help you do that so you can have more time to spend as you wish. In today's video, we are going to cover 3 popular Italian-American pasta dishes and which wines pair best with each of those. But that's not all. I also have a super simple strategy to help you create the perfect wine pairing experience for your next get-together. Be sure to stick around until the end. Let's get started. So the first classic Italian-American pasta dish that we are going to take a look at is spaghetti and meatballs, one of my personal favorites. Now, traditionally, spaghetti and meatballs is going to have a rich, hearty tomato sauce, and those meatballs are going to be made with ground beef. But that's not always the case. In today's society, those meatballs can be made with ground chicken, ground turkey, ground pork, or a meat-free alternative. So many possibilities. But they all generally have that hearty tomato sauce in common. With the richness of a classic tomato marinara pasta sauce, we need to have a red wine that is going to match those rich flavors of the sauce. So typically, whether you're finding yourself with red meat or a white meat of those meatballs, you want to look at the sauce because that is going to have the most powerful flavors and the most influence on that pasta dish. So we want to have a medium-bodied red wine that is going to match the powerfulness of that tomato sauce. So your best options to go along with classic spaghetti and meatballs are going to be a Chianti, a Sangiovese, or a Cabernet Sauvignon. All of these are very medium-bodied red wine. You're going to have a little bit variedness of the fruity flavors or some peppery notes, but all of them are going to match very well with that tomato sauce. Now, before we jump into the next classic dish, I want to hear from you. What is your favorite pasta dish? And what makes up the sauce? Drop it in the comments. If you have a recipe to share, I would love for you to drop that as well so we can dive deeper into the true notes of flavors, aromas, and spices in that dish and create the perfect pairing to go along with your favorite pasta dish. Plus, as an added bonus with that recipe, we can all grow our recipe collections and learn and grow together one pasta dish at a time. Now, the second classic Italian-American pasta dish is fettuccine Alfredo. Just like with the spaghetti, the protein source can look a little bit different with this fettuccine. You might have some diced up chicken or shredded turkey. Maybe you have some sauteed shrimp, or maybe there is no meat and you just add some extra veggies or some pieces of tofu for a vegetarian option. But again, all of these have in common that creamy, garlic, cheesy, butter-filled fettuccine sauce. And with that sauce, we want to have a white wine that is going to not only match the flavors in that sauce, but also cut through the fat and bring out the flavors outside of the butter and the cheese, but accent more of the garlic and maybe some flavors of veggies that you're adding in and whatever other flavors you doctor up your sauce with. So excellent options to go along with that fettuccine Alfredo would be a Chardonnay, a Pinot Grigio or a Chenin Blanc. Now, Chardonnay is most people's first choice because in the American world, Chardonnays are filled with oak and butter. But did you know classic Chardonnays don't have that buttery notes, and it's usually a very subtle hint of oakiness? Because with that, it cuts through the fat very well, similar to the Chenin Blanc. Both of them are typically on the drier side, making them very crisp and clean with those garlic cheese-based pasta dishes. Now, Pinot Grigio, on the other hand, is going to be slightly fruitier and a little on the sweeter side. So for those of you that prefer that sweet white wine, a Pinot Grigio would be the best option for you with that fettuccine Alfredo. Now, before we dive into the third Italian-American pasta dish, I want to remind you to hit the subscribe button because I'm dropping videos like this every week, and I would hate for you to miss out on the next tip or trick shared right here inside my tasting room. So the last dish that we are going to look at is a Parmesan. Now, most people pair this with a breaded chicken breast, but Parmesan was originally designed as a vegetarian dish using pieces of eggplant. And this is actually one of my favorite recipes to make with eggplant. Super easy in the air fryer, and it crisps up so nicely. Whether you find yourself making Parmesan with a breaded chicken breast, maybe a pork chop, or that slices of eggplant, you want to have a wine that is going to match the flavors of that Parmesan sauce, which is typically a little bit of tomato and a lot of cheese. Because of the versatility of this dish, the wine can also be versatile. So even if you find yourself on team white, you can go with a white wine. If you find yourself on team red, you can also do a red wine. This Parmesan dish can go either way depending on which flavor notes you are wanting to accent in that dish and which wine style you prefer for your own taste buds. So for my red wine drinkers, a Sangiovese is going to be your best option to go along with the Parmesan. It's a medium-bodied red wine that is going to match the heartiness of the tomato, as well as bring out some of the herbal notes in your breading, whether it's chicken or eggplant, but also cut through those cheesy notes so that way everything is nicely balanced, nothing overpowers one or the other. For my white wine drinkers, a Verdicchio is going to be your best option. This is going to be clean and crisp. That is also going to match the notes, specifically those herbal notes going along with the tomatoes, as well as cut through the fat in that thick, hearty mozzarella cheese. But if you're looking for something a little fun and different, I encourage you to grab a bottle of sparkling Lambrusco to really bring out the flavors and make it a fun dish altogether. Now let's keep this momentum going and help you create the perfect beverage experience with your next meal with these 3 simple tips. Number 1, as a general rule, red with red and white with white. So typically, red wine is going to pair best with your red meats and your red tomato-based sauces. White wine is going to pair best with your white meat and white, creamy, cheesy, garlic-based sauces. But as we've learned, that's not always the case. And that leads us to tip number 2, consider your sides and seasonings. When it comes to wine pairing, you want to look at the meal as a whole and find a wine that matches all of the flavors, brings everything together without overpowering one dish or one flavor compared to the rest. And tip number 3, sweet likes heat. When you find yourself enjoying spicy dishes such as Mexican, Indian, Thai food, and curry, you want a sweet wine, either red or white, depending on what you're serving. But you want a sweet wine to counteract that spiciness. It's actually going to cut back on the spiciness, making it more bearable and bring out the flavors in that dish instead of just tasting the spice. If, on the other hand, you want to accent those spicy notes, then grab yourself a dry bottle of wine and it will do just that. But remember, I warned you. Now, if you're ready to learn even more tips and tricks and become the wine pairing guru in your social circle, download your copy of my free basic food and wine pairing guide in the description below so you can start to elevate your taste buds and change the flavors of everyday meals for you and your friends right away today.